hopefully someone gets to see this video. I'm hoping it'll help other people. So before I start, Father, God, align with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and speak through me. Tell me, help me tell what you want me to say in truth. In your name I pray, amen. So, if I remember correctly, I was talking about the two exposures to the sex that I was exposed to, made me my brain think sex equaled love, attention. And believe me, I was so starved for attention and love that I guess my brain would have told me anything. But at this point, I'm living with that family, and I went ahead and it was done a lot in secret, and so the back of my mind, the incest and the with other kids, and believe me, a lot of my shame drove me in my self-destructive behaviors, and I have done my work on this. I've worked a lot on from my earliest memory. So I also was addicted to food, very much so, and I'm overweight now, but I'm working on it. So I go ahead and living with this family for about 5 years, around 10, age 10. I go to a party, and one of my dad's relatives sees me, and she goes, "Your dad has been looking for you. He wants to, meet with you and stuff." And I was so excited. I'm like, I just couldn't believe it, like everything else pointed not to it. So, my dad comes into my life. I see him. I'm so excited. I was on pins and needles, and I didn't really have any expectations. I just wanted to be around him, and I wanted his love and approval. And the same thing with my mom. I wanted her love and approval. And so I meet my family, which remember I had amnesia, remembering none of them. So it was very jarring, and I felt disassociated from them. Like I knew they were family, but like I wasn't worth it or something. And so my dad, my first Christmas, now remember, I'm living with this family. I hardly ever see my mom, and when I do, she shows me negative behavior, and how to get my way, manipulate people, and not good stuff. And so he buys me so much stuff for Christmas, and my mind connects that with love. He must love me because he's buying me stuff. And I look back now, it's probably because of guilt or something. And so my mom wanted to make him take back, and I was just like, no. There was certain instances when I would have birthday parties and stuff, and something would come up with my grandmother or my grandfather, and like 30 minutes before the party, and no party. And like someone would give me something, and my grandmother would like it, and my mom would give it to my grandmother. And so, it was really weird because every time I was around my mom's mom, all she did is look at me and cry. Now, this is a lady that had precognition. She, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she could see into the future, She said that there would come a day when women would dress as if they had no clothes, and that we are definitely in that day. And so I, around this time, my mom picked me up one weekend and asked me if I wanted to live with her. And I said yes, I always wanted to be with my mom, you know. And when I didn't know, apparently with that babysitter wanted to adopt me. Well, um, that's why my mom, I was absent until someone wanted me, and then she would come and get me. So, and I didn't know this. So I'm about, we moved around a lot when I moved with my mom, and they, she provides well for me. She did do that well. And my dad would pick me up. He lived in LA County. I lived in like Orange County, Riverside County, Norco area, growing up. And he would spend a lot of time driving back and forth to pick me up and spend time with me. And he, it was just, I was glad I got to have the time that I did with him. So, anyways, it happened where my dad was working. He worked in a refinery, and I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably around preteen, and maybe early teens. He had an accident at work. Like steam went on him, and he had third and fourth degree burns, and it was really bad. He almost died, and I went to see him in the hospital, and he was hooked up to machines, and he survived. Um, but it did a lot of damage. He couldn't go out in the sun. He had to always wear long sleeves, and that showed me my dad's morality rate, that he wasn't indestructible. And so I started moving back and forth between my parents, and my mom got sober when I was 12, and I started drinking when I was 12, and I was laying on the couch one day, and I was at my dad's, living with him, and he had bottles of alcohol on his, uh, he had bottles of alcohol on his refrigerator, and I said, oh, mom and dad do it. This must be the way to cope. Not at that time, but this is maybe the way to live. Um, as I'm telling you this, I flash back to, I guess I was like around 3 or 4 before I moved in with my grandmother, and I was visiting my mom, and I went to get a drink of water in the fridge, and it was alcohol. I didn't know it was alcohol, but it made my tummy warm when I drank it, and I didn't like it. I don't like the taste. But so I'm flashing back, and I'm going, starting to drink, and first drink, I passed out. I drank until I passed out. And so that was my answer. And I started finding pot, and I started with inhalants, and parents Google that and find out what that is and lock that stuff up. You may trust your kids, but I'm just cautioning you, okay? Because I heard about it from my school mates, and we knew that it was dangerous, and we did it anyways. So I'm stealing when I could get the money, steal from my dad when he'd be passed out, and so I get to about 16, and let me back up a little bit. So I had really bad menstrual from the very start, and something happened where they had to draw blood to try and find out why. And it was back in the day when they had the vacuum, um, like it would vacuum, but they kept bursting. They did it about 10 times, and I got deathly afraid of needles. My saving grace. I'm glad God put me through that. Um, so, anyways, it turns out I'm 16. They prescribed me like Motrin or strong like not painkillers or anything. So I decide to attempt to kill myself the first time. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. I took 20 or more pills. I didn't puke. Nothing happened. Um, and I told my mom the next day. They took me to a hypnotherapist. One appointment. That was it. And then I got depressed around 17. Really, really, really depressed. I was always depressed, but this was like, I mean, like my will to live was just completely gone, and I didn't even know I was in it. Um, and after third grade, I did everything I could to get out of school. I was hard. Oh my God, it was bad. I would go to school, my dad would drop me off, and I would hide in the bathroom just so I didn't have to go to class. None of my classes, none of them. There was a time that I did apply myself when I was 16, Lake Elsinore High School. No, Lake Elsinore High School, as I was going to that for a couple semesters. And the first part of the semesters, I did really well. I wasn't drinking nothing. And then I started drinking every day, smoking pot, and it was bad. I was getting the shakes. I didn't realize it then what I was getting, but I do now. So I get in that depression, and before I got in the depression, I was 250 pounds. And I come across this picture one day, many years later, and I was like, who was that? Who is that? And it was me, skinny as a rail. If I was lucky, I weighed 110 pounds. I doubt it. I think I was more closer to 100 pounds. Really, really skinny. Didn't even recognize myself. So I went ahead and my dad caught me stealing from him, and I wasn't going to school, and I was about 18 at this time. And so he kicked me out, called me a whore, and I was going to make my money by laying with my legs, with men between my legs. And so my mom comes, picks me up, gets me a job. I start working. I did not graduate high school. I did start reading when I was 17. That was kind of my escapism outlet. Escape from the world. And I was skinny, started working, started dating this guy when I was driving catering trucks, and drinking a lot, smoking a lot of pot, and I get the bright idea to get pregnant. I don't ask him, I just do it on my own, which is very, very wrong. And he thought I was doing it because I was trying to trap him into marriage. Didn't even think, didn't enter my mind, didn't want to marry him. I just wanted a baby. I wanted to love that baby, but I didn't really have love in me. I was so lost. And so I smoked pot, got behind the wheel, and got into an accident. And I was about 4 months pregnant, and the steering wheel went into my stomach, and a pot fell on my head. And I think it was I had just maybe a week or so after that gone in for the screening where they see the fetus and how it's growing. And so the doctor calls me the day after Christmas and told me that my baby had stopped growing, and I could not. I knew I had killed that child by my recklessness, and just, I was horrible. I was just so bad. Um, and, I killed my hope. I killed my dream. Um, I killed my precious baby, you know. And not too much longer after that, I was at a party and there was no pot to be found, but I had alcohol, and I started doing the harder drugs. I had always stayed away because I had seen the damage that it did to people, but I didn't care. Once again, I was worthless. Everything I touched uh, was ruined. I didn't know how to live. I wasn't given any tools. So I'm going to stop there because it's getting close to the time that they will post the video. So, and I'll try and see if I can upload another one again.